have so many videos and you've done this for so long. What was like your favorite social media video that you've done? Is there one that you could think of and you're like, oh yeah, this is the one? And is there a time that you thought, you know what, this is really my thing, like I can really get big with this?
Yeah. You know, I would say over the past year and a half, 2 years, I started this style of content, restarted this style of content, which was my acting. Because before I even started on TikTok or Instagram, I was making these skits during the pandemic where I was talking, my ego was talking to my higher self, and I was having this internal psychological dilemma, and I am portraying that in a narrative format. I revisited that and I started doing that style of content again, I would say about 2 years ago.
Is it just me, or is everyone a people pleaser these days? You know when they tell you, let all that you do be done in love? No one ever tells me that. Oh, sure, yeah, of course. Well, do you blame them? Yeah, I do. Is it really that hard to say no? Don't you know what it's like to disappoint somebody? People are just scared that they won't be loved anymore. Okay, and why? Well, because I believe people only understand half that equation. What equation is that? When people do all things in love, they think that love is just for others. So then what's the other half? Right here. Come get it while it's hot. Oh, thanks. Where's yours? Well, I just made enough for you.
After I started to improve my screenwriting and my acting, I finally found a flow of how to show up in front of the camera, how to improve my dialogue pacing, my writing capabilities, and I found a skit style that did so well, and it was just a very quick, witty back and forth banter between my ego and my higher self. And honestly, like either one of the ones that I've done well are probably my favorite, just because I put so much time and energy and effort into it, and then it also performs really well, and I'm able to see how strong of a creator I became over the past 5 years, and it's a true testament to my years worth of work accumulated into something that I was able to do all by myself. And I'm just really proud of it because there's so many different moving parts where otherwise something like a skit like this would have taken 3, 4, 5 person crew to do it. Right now I'm in the acting, I am lighting it, I am, filming it, I had to write it, I had to do the art direction, I had to do the styling, like everything that I did was dialed in. And then the editing, like I have to spend hours editing, hours cutting it up, coloring it, and then flowing it seamlessly with the music and the sound design. And I just feel proud because it just shows that hours and hours of worth of work can pay off and reach literally millions and millions and millions of views and people. So definitely my skit content.
Yeah, that's dope. We got to put that on there. We got to put that in the YouTube and kind of show one of your videos because, like I said, you're super talented. And there are a lot of guys on social media, and you can tell some of them don't really put the time and the effort in, and they've gotten, a big social media, and then you could tell the guys that are going to last and do this long term because you could see all the depth that goes into it, all the little details that go into it.
And I remember that all those little details, there are people who are going to recognize that work that you put into it. And it feels good, not only because of the technical work that you put into it, but the amount of heart that goes into it. And when people recognize how much of your heart went into a piece of content or this piece of work, it makes you feel like this is worth doing because now someone was able to take that piece of content, feel inspired, feel empowered, and you're like, wait a minute, this hours and hours and hours of work was able to help change somebody's life. And I'm like, great. I had a lot of fun making it. I look great. I made a beautiful piece of content, but also I was able to help change the direction of someone's life, even if it's in a micro way, you know what I mean? So yeah,
that's
absolutely.
Awesome. I was gonna say, how's like the fitness side of it having you do all the social media stuff and then you're in here with the fitness stuff? Like, how does that go together?
Oh my God, it's actually probably the most integral part of my job as a content creator. I have to look good in front of the camera. If I want to be an actor, if I want to be someone who has, is starring in my own long form content, TV, film, I need to look extremely good. So for me, if I'm not working out or if I'm not eating right, if like 85, 90% of my diet isn't dialed in, high protein, low carb, lots and lots of water, my skincare isn't dialed in, I wouldn't be performing my best on camera, right? So for me, especially recently, I'm in here 5, 6, 7 days out of the week, and I'm spending an hour and a half, 2 hours training really hard, right? And I need to make sure that I'm being inspired by all the great people in here who are also pushing me and want me to look the best. I get great advice from all the members here. I feel blessed because if it wasn't for the community here, I wouldn't be as motivated to look great, because everyone here has a similar, drive to want to feel their best, not only in their skin, but mentally as well. And it rubs off. So
I know earlier you were talking about how like at 24, you feel like, is it just because they're random people and they're coming up to you and they don't really bring value to the conversations? Like, what's the difference between like people in here and them talking to you, and then people from like a 24-hour fitness and them talking to you? I feel a lot of people love the privacy here, and I think it's a little bit easier. Is it because the people here have a different type of mindset? Is that what it is? Or?
I would say 100%. It's the mindset of hey, I want to feel like the person I'm talking to feels seen and heard. And I think that is very different from just a regular gym like a 24 or a lot of other places. People are focused on their own world, and when people do come up, it's almost like they feel entitled to your time it's not even providing value, but it's like, hey, I want to just kind of chat you up, kind of like pick your brain. Like, it feels more like a take rather than
Then pouring in your cup, basically?
Yeah, it's exactly. It's like, oh my God, I feel like my energy is being drained. And then also, sometimes you don't know people's intention. Sometimes a lot of people just look at you at those other gyms, and it's also very, very much an energetic thing. Like, a lot of people look at you, it's like they know you, they don't come say hi. It just feels like, but they, talk to their friends about you, and it's like a weird thing because it's like, you just feel exposed. But here, it's like, people want to come up to you like, hey, I love your work. Totally respect everything that you're doing. Thank you so much for what you do on your platforms. And then also they say, and are very mindful of, I don't want to eat too much of your time.
Yeah.
I have a great workout. Also, same thing. It's like, people respect each other's time. It's not like, hey, we're just here to like mess around. Like, people will be able to straight up tell you, but like, hey, I need to get back to my workout. Hey, I need to go quick. Feels very authentic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
When I was, before I was training Andre Ward at 24-Hour Fitness.
Yes.
And I kid you not, he'd be like in the middle of a set,
Yeah.
and someone would walk over with like gloves for him to sign.
Yeah.
And like, I remember I was telling him, I was like, don't worry, I'm opening up my own gym. Like, we'll have something
Yes.
private, right? Like, you could come in. And now that I see the difference from there and how he was, it was like everybody's asking him. They didn't care. They just come in. They don't care if he's in mid-set. They want pictures. They want his time. They want to take from him, take.
Right.
Where when he comes in here, it's like people just let him do his thing.
Yep,
And then
exactly.
if he wants to engage with you and if he wants to talk with
Correct.
you, then it's on his terms, right?
Exactly.
And so I think that's where the difference is. I think people really respect it. I had Marshawn Lynch in here not
Yes.
too long ago. Not one person walked up to him.
Yeah.
Not one person said anything to him. They all kind of knew, okay, he's here. That's great. He's doing his own thing. Let him
Correct.
feel normal and
Yes.
feel like a human being
Yes.
instead of walking up and talking to him. And so I think that's the biggest thing is I think everybody kind of in this gym is they're trying to get after their own thing, right? They're
Correct.
trying to move up in the world
Exactly.
and do well.
And I think that's the
difference.
most beautiful thing, like you said. It's on your terms when you want to go chat with people and able to exchange energy. And that's what I feel empowered to do. It's like, if I'm in the energy, if I have the mood to speak to someone, it's like, I want to be able to go provide value because That's something that I want to do on my terms, right? It doesn't feel forced, which I think is beautiful here. And like you said, people here they have vision. They all are, tunnel vision. They know what they want. They know what they need to achieve, and they know what they can't compromise on to get to that. And I respect that a lot because now people value their time. And if people value their own time, it says a lot about their character if they're going to value your time.
Yeah.
Right?
And I've noticed just like with you and Andre, I kid you not, like, and I'm not just saying this because of where you guys are.
Yeah.
I genuinely swear on anything I love, you guys are probably the nicest people I've ever met. And it's like, okay, I see why God's blessed you with what you guys have, right? Like I see why you have millions of followers, right? Andre is one of the greatest boxers of all time, but he's one of the most genuine people I've ever met. And like, you can only show yourself so much to a camera, right? But you are one of the nicest people I've ever met. It's the reason why late at night you'll be like, hey, can I get your keys to come and shoot content here? I'm like, yes, I trust you, I love you, it's all good. And we've built a great bond. I think a lot of times, a lot of these guys, they get to a position where you're at, where they have millions of followers, and then they're stuck up. They're mean. They're not good people. And it's like, damn. And there was someone that came in here that had a huge following, and I looked up to him, and he was such a dick. Like he was such not a nice person. And I was like, oh, dang, okay, like you just made me feel some type of way. And all I was trying to do was be nice to the guy, and he just wasn't the nicest guy. And so it's kind of cool and refreshing to see someone like you and Andre and some of you guys that have these huge platforms that actually are willing to pour back into other people's cups.
Yes. And it's so beautiful that you said that. And Bobby, and that's why I feel so comfortable coming to the lab, is because I know how much of a man of service and a man of God you are to be able to provide a lot of value and kindness to everyone who walks in through this door. And like I said before, you make people feel seen and heard. And because you're able to do that, it makes me feel like that's the types of people you're going to attract. The masses of those people are the people who have that genuine energy. And I feel like once you are, I always say, God's going to put you in spaces that are a reflection of you and how you need to grow and how you need to be inspired by. So when I see someone like Andre or yourself, I'm inspired by that kindness and how you treat your people. And it's just gonna rub off. That kindness is gonna rub off. That compassion is gonna rub off. And I'm like, it makes me want to continue to be a person of service, a person who holds space for people.
I think that's where I'm the most proud of this gym, is like the type of people that are in here.
Oh yeah.
It's just awesome because I get so many people who are like, oh, it's an intimidating space, right? Like I see it on social media, and I'm sure some of them see you and they think, wow, this guy's got
tattoos on him.
Tattoos.
He looks like intense. But the thing is, those are like people's perception. But the moment you have a conversation, so the moment you actually interact with someone, you're like, oh my God, that was all in my head.
Yeah. And then they come in here and they see what it really is. They're like, wow, everyone's so nice, right? Somebody actually wrote a review earlier today. They said they didn't want to come in here because they thought it was so intimidating and it was this thing that you see on social media. And then once they got in here and they started talking to everybody, they were like, wow, this place is awesome, right? And that's what makes me so proud, is the community that's being built. It starts with my staff, my trainers, everybody that's in here, you, and like obviously Andre is one of the big leaders in here. And like now that I'm seeing the culture that's being built, like I would say that's like the thing I'm most proud of,
And also, when you have people like your trainers, your team members, people like myself or Nikki or Andre, we also feel obligated to maintain that culture. And all of a sudden, it's like, if Bobby's not in here all the time because he has other obligations, it's like, we need to make sure that it's maintaining and it's staying like that. And that's why I feel like I have also responsibility when I'm in here too. I'm like, I want to represent Bobby, everyone here at the lab, the culture and values of the lab in a way that makes sure that the community stays alive.
Yeah,
right?
And that's big for me because right now in the Bay, and this is something like I'm sure you can really attest to, is like, we are in the Bay and it's not as big as like LA. Someone like you with the status that you have, it probably would be a lot easier to go to LA and create content with people out there.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you do travel there once in a while, but I feel like with the lab, we've built something where we can get a lot of these guys that are big, that are coming in here, and now all of a sudden you're able to collab and do things with them, right? And I know Alex is one of the guys I'm trying to put you with right now. He's got a huge following and he's from LA, but he comes out here a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, cool. The bigger we get this gym and the more popular whatever it is,
Right.
I'm able to get a lot of these people in here. Then it's like, okay, we can get people to do collabs. I know you and Nikki did one. I got
Yes.
you and Alex doing one.
Yes.
And so that's my thing, is just trying to build that culture so that down the road you guys have a bigger platform.
And you know what's crazier? I think, Bobby, to give you more credit, it takes a leader like yourself to recognize whose energies would complement each other well.
Yeah.
And I think that's like something that a lot of people don't talk about, because platonic, romantic, doesn't matter, matchmaking,
Yeah.
artistic matchmaking is hard, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But you have a good sense of people who are able to vibe well together, create together, and that just shows that you read people really well. You know, you have a good gauge of people and want to see the best sides of people. And when you're able to do that, you're able to create opportunities that otherwise other people wouldn't have been able to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you are creating ripple effects from the people who step in here, and that's beautiful, man. That's why I'm truly blessed, because, like you said, me and Nikki and I have made a couple great skits that did incredibly well, reached corners of the world that made people learn about her, and likewise. And it's the same thing. It's like, I'm finding new people in here who I'm like, oh my God, like, your energy is super great. Would love to find a way to exchange and grow that energy and make it even bigger.
Yeah.
And it feels great. Now, even like you and I, now we're doing this. Like,
Yeah.
this is long overdue.
And there's a lot of talented people in this gym that want to build their social media, and they don't have a huge social media right now. They might have 1,000 or 2,000 people
Right.
on their social media,
Right.
but I'm trying to get them into, you know, rooms that they've never been able to get into,
Yes.
and be able to work with people they never thought they were able to work
Yes.
with, right? And so that's my biggest thing is as these guys get bigger and bigger and bigger, guess what? The lab gets bigger and bigger
Yes,
and bigger, you know,
absolutely.
and ultimately we can all grow together. And that's my biggest thing is like, why not all help each other out? Why does it got to be selfish? Why does it got to be me,
Yes,
right?
yes.
And I think that's my biggest thing right now is just keeping the bad energy away
Yeah.
and keep taking in all the good energy, right?
Right.
So let me ask you a question. Where do you see yourself in the future? You know, like I know right now you're doing all these social media skits and you're doing a lot of stuff. You have brand deals, you're doing all this other stuff. Where do you see yourself in 5 years from now?
It's a great question. You know, it's funny because I was talking to Rob about this a little bit earlier, and I've been coming to a lot of realizations that no matter, it's great to have vision. It's great to know that I want to go in this direction, but I've been humbled over the past few years and reminded in a very beautiful way that whatever plan that I have in my head is great. If it happens, amazing.
Yeah.
If it doesn't, even better, because
Yeah.
God's plan,
Yeah, way better.
way better.
Yeah.
And I'm always reminded, I'm like, wait, I'm so much happier
Yeah.
how God is actually making
Yeah.
this paintbrush stroke, you know what I mean? So for me, ideally, and honestly, I am, sure, it looks a little bit different. I'm living the life that my heart desired when I was 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. It looks a little bit different, that's fine. But even in the next 5 years, ideally I want to be in film and TV, running my own show, being a showrunner, starring as an actor, the screenwriter of my own, let's say TV show or feature film. That would be incredible. I want to start making long form short films and other long form pieces of content that are, in my head, next level, and just increasing the production value and storytelling capabilities of myself. And then also eventually do that for other creators as well.
Yeah.
Give other influencers and creators a chance to make really cool pieces of, you know, film and TV, right?
Yeah.
So I want to keep staying creative, and I want to be able to make what I've done from my little corner of Livermore, California, and expand it, collaborate with other beautiful actors and writers, and just start to take this energy that I've been able to kind of cultivate on my own and just start to share that and collaborate more. But yeah, keep growing my brand Shakti, keep empowering more people to be self-aware, keep empowering people to understand their worth and their light, and just keep being of service.
Yeah.
But through the art that I make, and that art is starting to get bigger and bigger and bigger, because now I have more confidence to make bigger pieces of content that reach more people, reach more corners of the world. You know?
So there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be watching this, and they want to be content creators. They want to get to where you're at. You know, right now with social media being as big as it is, everybody wants millions of followers, right? And you have millions of followers. So what advice would you have for those people to, really get there? I know earlier you kind of said, let God guide you and let your heart and all those things do it out of pure love, right? But like, where do you start? Someone that wants to create a content and wants to start getting it out there to the masses, where do you start?
Yeah, it's such a great question. I think the best place to start is to not overcomplicate tools that you need, but just to start building the muscle of understanding that being a creator is a way of living. It's not exclusive to making a piece of content, to music artists, to filmmakers, or anything. You are a creator of your reality, so you should start looking at every decision that you make as someone who is creating from a place of their heart. So the first place that you should look at is next time you have a thought, the next time you have an idea, the next time you have something you want to share but there's no people to share it with, start writing.
Yeah.
The first place is just to start writing your thoughts, because I wouldn't be where I am as a content creator for the past 4 or 5 years if I didn't exercise my writing skills. Yeah. And like people probably would have thought like, okay, what formula do I need to know? Which angle should I be filming? What trend should I be following? No, learn to write what's going on within here. Take the conversations, the uncomfortable thoughts, and put it down on a piece of paper or in your notepad. Start journaling, start scripting out anything that's in your mind that you want to share, and learn to write religiously. Write, because writing is your best friend to get that confidence to know that whatever's going on in here and jumbled up is able to be created into something that you can read and then deliver. And then from there, don't overcomplicate it. You just need a phone.
Yeah.
You really just need a phone. Set up some good lighting by a windowsill.
Yeah.
And then just memorize whatever script you have and just learn to get comfortable speaking in front of a camera. That's it. Yeah. But your writing is the number one thing. Learn to write what's going on within your heart. That's it. So simple.
Yeah, and I think that's awesome just because what you said is just like, write it all down, because even if you just write it down in the beginning and you don't have the confidence to, record it or do something later on, you can always go back to it.
Yes,
because at some point you're going to be like, all right, you know what, today I'm going to do a video. I have so many people in here that are like, I wanted to shoot something or I wanted to do this, but okay, at least if you write it down, then later on you can actually put it on a video and then you can actually post it, right?
Correct.
So I think that is really, really smart, is to just write it down in the beginning.
Because for me, when I first started on TikTok, I would write down a script of me going on a self-date, and I'd read it in the car, and it'd be like maybe 12 lines. I'd memorize it, I'd set up my phone in the car, and I just start talking. That's it. And I did that for like 400 videos. I just talked to the camera after writing a script, and sure, maybe it does take 30 takes, maybe it does take 20 takes. It doesn't matter how much time it takes, because you love sharing what's on your mind. You love yapping to your friends anyway. You love yapping to your community. It's like, now just do that between you and the relationship you have with God, yourself, whatever it is, and just be able to talk when no one's around, in your car, with just your phone, right? It's just a muscle. And then all of a sudden you'll be like, this is super easy.
Yeah. I feel like that's the biggest thing, is just doing it and just getting good at it. Like,
That's it.
Practice makes perfect.
That's literally it. That's literally it. It's just like working out in here. It's like, it takes you 10 years to build the physique you want, but because you had to commit yourself to doing it every day. And sure, it may be uncomfortable at first, but you will slowly start to get micro forms of evidence to prove you are who you say you are if you keep doing it.
Yeah, it's like working out. It's uncomfortable in the beginning. You get sore. You don't know what you're doing, right?
Right.
And it sucks, right? Nobody likes working out. But at some point, you actually end up enjoying working out. Like, I look forward to coming to the gym and working out. Yeah. But also, I got to understand, I can't just go in the gym and get big in one day. Right. It takes time. It takes practice, right? So I got to come in here and have everything written down, especially when you're a newbie at working out, right? You want to write it all down, understand how many sets, how many reps, what you're going to do throughout your workout. And it goes the same thing with content, right? Write it down, figure it out, and then slowly every day just get better and better and better at it. And at some point you'll look back and look at your physique and go, wow, I look really, really good.
Correct.
Right?
Correct. Same thing, man. It's like, I realize if you overcomplicate and think that you need everything in the world to start, you're already lost, because now you've put too much emphasis on things outside of you, when creativity is you, who you are. It's not dependent on the type of light, the type of camera, the type of outfit that you have. You are the creator. And most people need to remember that tools will come and go, platforms will come and go, but you as a creator will transcend all of these different things that are temporary. But you as a creator is the number one constant thing that will withstand all of these changes in life. That's why I always say, embody yourself in knowing that you are the creator, and that if you move with your entire life with that mentality, that every decision I make, every word that I speak is creating my reality, then you start to look at not creation as like, oh my God, that's for the creative people. I'm a logical person, I'm an analytical thinker. It's like, no, you realize that every single person is creative, you just haven't exercised it.
Yeah,
that's it.
That's so true.
That's it.
Guys, I guarantee if you ask a lot of these guys that have huge social medias now, in the beginning, they're probably like, yeah, every single one that I asked, they're like, yeah, I had a bunch of stuff that sucked and it wasn't good, and I just kept doing it and I kept doing it.
That's it.
And that's the number one formula that I've heard from everybody that I've asked that has a bigger social media, is that they just keep doing it. They just keep putting out content. And if people like it, great. And if they don't, great.
Totally.
But at the end of the day, if you keep doing it, at some point, something's going to stick, right?
Correct. And the thing is, I think a lot of people get so caught up in saying, I need to have a plan, I need to know my niche, I need to know who I'm serving. But creativity, or God's not going to give you the next direction. The universe is not going to grant you what the next step is unless you start first. And as you keep experimenting, then it reveals itself to you. The next step, the thing that clicks, the flywheel that keeps rolling, it comes when you experiment and have no expectation that, okay, this needs to perform well, because when you just keep doing it, it's slowly going to reveal itself to you in its own timing.
Yeah.